When I decided to leave Liu Ruyan, I did three things. First, I posted all the valuable gifts he sent me online and sent them by mail. Second, I sold the wedding house at a low price without telling him and slashed the dress worth tens of millions. Third, I handed myself over to the country and cleaned up all traces of myself in this world. Before the proposal ceremony he carefully prepared, I disappeared from his world completely. He didn't know that when he played wedding games with his childhood sweetheart all night and didn't come back, I was planning to leave step by step. I became the sensible and generous Liu Ruyan wanted. Later he lost control and asked me, "Why are you not angry? Don't you love me anymore?" I lowered my eyes and said nothing, but when I heard his childhood sweetheart send them their ambiguous voice, I dialed the departure phone. Not long ago my mentor found me and asked, "Hee-chong, are you sure? This confidential medical research lasts for 10 years. Not only will you not be able to contact the outside world, you may never get out," my mentor said earnestly. "Although you are my best student, I still hope you can think carefully." I stood at the door of the dress shop, watching Chao Shukuan wearing my custom dress and taking intimate photos with Liu Ruyan. Their faces were pressed together, and Liu Ruyan also imitated the popular fairy veil kiss on the internet. Finally, he took off the ring on his hand and put it on Chao Shukuan. After a slight pain in my heart, there was no ripple. "Teacher, I am sure, I am an orphan free of worries, and being able to contribute to the motherland is my blessing in my previous life." A year ago, my mentor mentioned this national plan to me, but at that time I had just agreed to Liu Ruyan's proposal and couldn't let it go. "Now I don't care about anything," the teacher breathed a sigh of relief. "I will arrange it for you here. But time is urgent. It is expected that someone will come to pick you up in a week. Take this opportunity to deal with what needs to be dealt with. Don't leave yourself with regrets." When I hung up the phone, I heard Chao Shukuan's voice inside, "Sister Ruyan, you are so nice. I like this dress so much." The dress she wore was specially made by a designer. I waited for several months before it arrived. It is worth tens of millions and there is only one. I haven't worn it myself. It's just a dress. Just like it. Liu Ruyan touched his head lovingly. "But will my brother-in-law be unhappy when he sees it?" When he turned his head, Liu Ruyan found me at the door. After a flash of panic on his face, he quickly regained his composure and let go of Chao Shukuan's hand holding his arm. He gently reminded him to take it off first and let your brother-in-law try it. Chao Shukuan looked reluctant. "Can I wear it for a while? My brother-in-law can wear it all the time, but I can't wear it in the future." "What are you talking about?" Liu Ruyan pinched his face and said, "When you find a girlfriend in the future, you will naturally wear a dress when you get married." They teased me without paying attention to others. Perhaps they were afraid that I would cause trouble for Chao Shukuan again. Liu Ruyan explained to me impatiently, "I just played a wedding game with Shukuan. Don't be angry again. If it was before, I would definitely make a big fuss. I even wanted to tear the dress to pieces and no one would wear it, but thinking that I would leave in a week, it's better to have less trouble than more." I smiled and said to Liu Ruyan, "It's just a dress. If he likes it, give it to him. There are still things to do in the laboratory, so I left first." Liu Ruyan was stunned. He came to pick me up at night for the first time, holding a small mango cake in his hand, but I am allergic to mangoes. He still can't tell, mango is not what I like, it's Chao Shukuan who likes it. "I'm afraid you will forget to eat when you start doing experiments, so I brought it to you." He has handed the steps here, so naturally he hopes that I will take advantage of the situation. I nodded and acted very happy. "Thank you." Liu Ruyan didn't expect that I didn't say anything. On the way back he asked me, "Hee-chong, are you angry with me?" I was thinking that the experimental data in my hand should be sorted out as soon as possible. The things that should be handed over should be explained to the junior sisters and junior brothers. I didn't hear his words clearly, so I said, "I'm a little sorry for being distracted just now. What are you talking about? Maybe my tone is too unfamiliar." He suddenly pressed the brakes and turned to look at me. "Are you still angry about that dress?" I was a little confused. "No, why do you think so?" Liu Ruyan looked at me quietly for a few seconds. After confirming that he saw only peace in my eyes, he restarted the car, but his voice was a little hoarse. "Hee-chong, you were not like this before." It is true that Liu Ruyan and I have changed after Chao Shukuan graduated and returned to Beijing a year ago. We have quarreled many times because of him. Liu Ruyan always said that he only regarded Chao Shukuan as a little brother, and asked me not to make trouble unreasonably. The most serious quarrel, he got very angry and pointed at me. "Hee-chong, you are simply unreasonable. If I have something with Chao Shukuan, will it be your turn? Don't you think about it? You are a poor student who still needs me to support you. If we really break up, you will be left alone." We had a cold war for a month that time and I finally asked for peace. Maybe people's hearts don't become cold in one day. The feelings between Liu Ruyan and I for many years have been slowly consumed because of Chao Shukuan in this year. So now I don't even have the withdrawal reaction. I just look at him and smile. "Ruyan, I was ignorant before, but I won't do that again in the future. Because I'm leaving soon." Before going to bed, Liu Ruyan was taking a shower. I saw the circle of friends posted by Chao Shukuan. She was wearing the dress that belonged to me, holding my fiancé's arm. She posted a 9-square grid photo, saying that she got married to the person she loved. Many friends of Liu Ruyan liked the photo and someone left a message saying, "Is this figure in back Liu Ruyan?" Chao Shukuan replied proudly, "Yes, my sister Ruyan dotes on me the most." I liked it, turned off my phone and prepared to go to bed. Not long after I lay down, the bed beside me sank, and Liu Ruyan hugged me with her slightly cool body. Ah Chang's hot breath wandered around my ears, and one hand reached in from the hem of my pajamas. I slightly adjusted the distance between us, then grabbed his hand and spoke softly, "Liu Ruyan, I'm a little tired today and don't want to do this." I basically never refused him. In the past, every time we had a temper, we basically quarreled at the head of the bed and made up at the foot of the bed. Liu Ruyan especially liked to torture me slowly at such times. I begged for mercy and then hugged me tightly when it was over, whispered some private love words, asking me not to be jealous anymore. But now when she thought that I was leaving, it seemed that she was not very interested. After being rejected by me, Liu Ruyan's body stiffened. Perhaps a woman's face and dignity prevented her from getting close to me to ask the truth. She just replied with a faint word "okay" and turned her back. The distance between the two of us that day seemed as far as the Milky Way. When I woke up the next day, Liu Ruyan was gone. I don't know if she was afraid that I would be jealous of Chao Shukuan's circle of friends. She, who never made breakfast, put half-burnt toast, fried eggs and milk on the dining table, and wrote a note for my husband to enjoy. There was also a text message on her mobile phone. I put my husband's suit in the study. "You try to send me a photo. I'm sure you will look the most handsome." After I finished my meal, I went to the stationery store and bought a countdown calendar. I tore off a page. There were 6 days left. I went back. I started to pack up my things, starting with the study. I dropped the photos, books we had read together, and various materials on the table. When I put them in the box, a diary fell out. It recorded the daily love life of Liu Ruyan and I. Every page was full of sweetness. The paper is now a little yellowed. After thinking about it, I finally kept it. But looking at that annoying dress, I still couldn't help it. I took out the scissors and slashed it expressionlessly, which made me feel a little relieved. I also posted all the expensive gifts he gave me online and paid for the delivery. Basically, by the time I finished packing, the things had all been sold, so I made an appointment with the courier to take them all away the next day. At 6 o'clock in the evening, my mobile phone reminded me that there was a drama in the evening, which would start at 7 o'clock. This drama is quite popular, an immersive performance, and the tickets had been booked long ago. I didn't plan to ask Liu Ruyan if she was going or not, because he had forgotten about it a long time ago. Sure enough, before the show started, he said he was busy with work and asked me not to wait for him for dinner in the evening. I didn't get a ticket to have dinner. I didn't get one when I rushed for a ticket. I sat in the front row near the aisle on the right. The play was great. The love story of life and death moved me to tears. When the play was about to end, the actors went to the stage to interact with the audience, who knew that the big screen showed that it was Ruyan Liu who was chosen, and Chao Shukuan was sitting next to her. It turned out that he was busy with work and was accompanying his childhood sweetheart. He also got the privilege to buy the front row seat. The spotlight was on them and they looked especially well matched. After the actor asked if they were a couple, Chao Shukuan immediately leaned on Ruyan Liu, surrounded by the booing of the audience. The actor asked them if they were very moved and asked them to cherish the people around them and even more so the fate of being together. He asked them if they were willing to do as in the last scene of the play, with a deep kiss. After a moment of hesitation, Chao Shukuan smiled and kissed Ruyan Liu. I don't know what he thought of, but he suddenly pushed her away and stood up, slightly tilting his head. Our eyes met through the crowd and our hearts were moved. I looked away, picked up my bag and left. At the exit, Liu Ruyan caught up with me. Her hair was messy. Maybe it was because she saw that I was calm from beginning to end, unlike before. He began to explain seriously. So many people were looking at me, it would be bad to offend everyone. I nodded and said I understood him. He was startled and after a moment asked me if I was jealous and said that. I laughed. What was there to be jealous of? At this moment, Chao Shukuan also ran out, but when he was about to walk in front of us, he suddenly sprained his ankle. Sister Ruyan, it hurts. He wanted to help her, but he estimated that I was there, and his expression became tangled. I spoke first and said, "Let's send her to the hospital so quickly. It would be bad if she hurt her bones." Liu Ruyan was surprised at my sensibleness and magnanimity, and held my hand. "I'll take her to the clinic next door first. Can you wait for me at the door when I come back to pick you up?" I answered casually, "Okay." Liu Ruyan looked at me steadily for a while, as if she wanted to. I could tell something from my expression, but I wasn't angry at all. He finally let go of my hand, helped Chao Shukuan up and left. I didn't plan to wait for him foolishly as before, so I went back first. When I was leaving, I received a call from my junior brother, saying that there was an abnormality in the experimental data, and that everyone had ruled it out for a long time without any results. He asked me if I could go and help take a look. I hurried over. It seemed like a blink of an eye and the sky was bright. The faulty link was found and repaired. My junior sisters and brothers praised me with all kinds of flattery, and finally they were reluctant to leave. "Senior brother, are you really going to that confidential research?" I nodded, "Yes, but aren't you getting married? Are you willing to leave?" After a slight pause, I smiled. National affairs are more important. What's more, for Liu Ruyan it makes no difference whether I am there or not. This world is not one that cannot turn around if one leaves. I dragged my tired body back and opened the door, when I saw Chao Shukuan again. He looked from the main. He came out of the second bedroom and was not at all flustered when he saw me. Don't get me wrong. It was very late after the examination and application of the medicine yesterday. My parents are not at home these few days, and there is no one to take care of me when I go back. Sister Ruyan brought him back because she was afraid that I would have difficulty in moving. At this time Liu Ruyan came out of the bathroom. Maybe she thought that I would be unhappy again. She frowned. Chong, it's early in the morning. I don't want to make trouble with you. Shukuan wants to go to work with me. I have no clothes, so I'll lend you yours today. Before she finished speaking, I agreed. We were both stunned at the same time. Liu Ruyan looked at me incredulously, as if he felt that my reaction was too calm. He explained, Shukuan slept in the second bedroom yesterday. Don't think about it again. I interrupted him. I didn't think anything. Did you grow up together? You treat him as your younger brother. There is a room in the house that is always reserved for him. He can come anytime without my consent. Didn't you say that? Liu Ruyan paused and said, his breathing slowed down a little. It's great that you think so. I really hope that you and Sukuan can get along well. As I was talking, the doorbell rang, and the courier I asked for arrived. Liu Ruyan then discovered that I had placed a lot of things of all sizes in the living room. He walked over to take a look, and his face suddenly sank. Chong, what do you mean you don't want the things I gave you? I was just about to speak when he took out a music box with a rotating groom in a white suit. His eyes were slightly red. You don't want this either. We were all very poor that year and couldn't afford more expensive gifts. But he stubbornly said that he would marry me and be his groom in the future. I believed it, but reality slapped me in the face. The love between three people is too crowded. I don't want to avoid complications. I spoke softly, you think too much. I asked professionals to help me renovate everything. How could you not want it? Seeing that my expression was still gentle, Liu Ruyan was relieved. Okay, I'm settled. I will arrange for someone to give it to you at home and build a new row of cabinets to put these things in. I nodded. Aren't you going to work? Let's go, I'm going to sleep. Then I went straight to the bedroom. Liu Ruyan wanted to say something, but I had already locked the door. It was already afternoon when I woke up. I tore off a page. There were still 5 days left. My supervisor asked me to find him and said that the Esper paper I had published before had been published. Liu Ruyan suddenly called me. I said I was going to school. He said he would come downstairs to take me there immediately. I opened the car door and saw Chao Shukuan sitting in the passenger seat. After a second of shock, I said nothing and went to the back seat. Chao Shukuan chuckled and said, brother-in-law, don't be angry. In the past, when Sister Ruyan drove my mother's car, I always sat in the passenger seat. They said that sitting in the back felt like taking someone as a driver, which was impolite, so I got used to it. I was not angry, but smiled gently. Sit if you want. Liu Ruyan looked at me several times in the rearview mirror, trying to find a topic. On the way here, I saw a medical student named Changha, who published a great paper, saying that it can create huge value for the country. Chang seems to have the same research direction as you. Changha is the picture I used when I published the paper. The teacher said it was to protect my personal safety. My brother-in-law has studied for so many years, but it seems that he has not made any achievements. As soon as Chao Shukuan finished speaking, he pretended to cover his mouth. I'm sorry, brother-in-law, I didn't mean anything else when I said that. Now, even Liu Ruyan looked at me with some disgust. Chong, sometimes you have to admit the gap between people. Those who go out early and come back late every day are also living in a daze. After we get married, you can just stay at home. I responded with a snort, and then leaned in to reply. The tutor's message blocked his sight, and he no longer paid attention to their sarcasm. Chao Shukuan got off at the intersection 2 streets away from my school. Thank you, Ruyan, sister sent me love you. Then he deliberately winked at me. I left first. I looked at the name of the community and asked casually, this is not the community of our wedding house. He went to play with his friends. I stopped talking. He glanced at me. He had an injury on his foot. I would drop him off. Don't be petty. My expression was very calm. It is not normal for a sister to drop her brother off. Liu Ruyan was choked. After getting off the car, he took out a large bouquet of flowers from the trunk and stuffed it into my arms. I know you have been unhappy these days. I apologize. I make amends if you really mind. Then don't want that dress. I will ask a master to customize it for you, okay? He looked like I have done this much. Don't be ungrateful. I lowered my eyes, looked at the dress styles that were constantly turning pages on my phone. I didn't have much interest. We were all leaving. These were of no use to me. I gently pushed his phone away. Returned the flowers to him. You can choose whatever you want. My tutor is looking for me. Just raised my foot. Liu Ruyan grabbed. I patted his hand and asked, Kachong, what's wrong with you? His expression was full of confusion, even a little bewildered and helpless. What's wrong? Because I'm leaving, but I don't want to quarrel with him, so I patted his hand and asked, can we talk after I'm done? My supervisor praised the paper I published this time, but he was still worried. Life in the research institute is very boring. Can you stand the loneliness of doing experiments and processing data every day? I nodded and thought about the car. Liu Ruyan looked down on me between the lines. I assured the teacher in a solemn tone that I would never embarrass you. You are a researcher selected by the country, a rare talent. How could you embarrass me? I found a treasure. When I came out of the office, I saw my junior brother poo-pooing in front of the window. I asked him what's wrong with you and he was indignant. Senior brother. Isn't that your girlfriend? I just saw him drinking a cup of milk tea with a man. How can he have no sense of boundaries? This is not betrayal. I comforted the junior brother. It's okay. He is his younger brother. His younger brother Liu Ruyan lost his parents when he was young. It was Chao Shukuan's family who felt sorry for him and extended a helping hand. Later, he was successful in his career, and it was understandable to help this so-called younger brother. Who knew that the junior brother suddenly got angry? It's so funny. They are all 1,000-year-old foxes. What kind of Liao Jai is playing senior brother? This younger brother is a green tea. I will help you tear him apart. I hurriedly pulled him. Don't be impulsive. After all, I have made trouble and torn apart before. Liu Ruyan just looked at me coldly. Hee-chong, you are really unreasonable. Others don't know. You don't know my relationship with Shukuin. You are also jealous of this, is it? Interesting, it's really boring. I don't want to cause trouble before I leave, so I told the junior brother that I still have a few days before I leave, and asked him to keep it a secret for me. Then are we still getting married? I shook my head. I'm going to leave if I don't get married. Just as the voice fell, Liu Ruyan's voice rang from behind. Hee-chong, where are you going? I was sure if he heard what I said before. He just replied lightly that he would go to other schools for exchanges. It was visibly that he was relieved. I don't know what he thought of, but a smile appeared between his eyebrows. Go home, I have something to tell you. I nodded, and Liu Ruyan told me that he had taken 2 days off to travel with me. Don't you want to watch the sunrise? Let's relax, okay? Okay. Finally, he sighed and threw himself into my arms, but there was still the smell of Chao Shukuin on him. Chong, I love you, so you must tell me if you are unhappy, okay? I promise you that I will spend more time with you in the future, and will not let you suffer any grievances. You believe me, I am as sensible and generous as he wished. I believe you, but the next morning Liu Ruyan broke the appointment again. He sent a message saying that the company had something urgent to do. This time it was my fault. Chong, I will make it up to you next time. I had expected it and I didn't feel it. I was very sad. Liu Ruyan's promises have all become empty promises since Chao Shukuin showed up. So before going to bed last night, I only booked my own ticket. The mountains were quiet. I lay in a rocking chair listening to the chirping of insects. My whole mood became peaceful. Before going to bed, I saw Chao Shukuin's circle of friends. Wow, it's my parents' 25th wedding anniversary, and I'm also grateful for it. Under the blue sea, Chao Shukuin hugged Liu Ruyan tightly. He supported her waist, as if he was afraid that she would be short of oxygen. There were schools of fish around them, and they were laughing happily. It turned out that the company had something to do, so we went to travel with other people's parents. When there were only 3 days left in the countdown, I watched the sunrise and went back, and continued to pack up the rest of the things, the handicrafts I made in my spare time, the clay dolls I made with Liu Ruyan, the photo wall in the living room, and the special blind box cabinet in the bedroom. I sold some and threw some away. In the afternoon, the house was already much emptier. I remembered that there were still some things in the wedding room that I had moved to before. I planned to clean out the things from the past, but when I got there, I found that the password I had set had been changed. I tried many times but still couldn't open it. Finally, I found a locksmith to help me pry it open. The moment I stepped into the house, I was stunned. It was not empty at all. Instead, it was filled with a lot of boys' things. The photo wall in the living room was filled with photos of Chao Shukuin and Liu Ruyan. My succulents and formaldehyde-absorbing plants were all thrown away. There was a yoga mat on the balcony, and her underwear was drying on it. There were all kinds of snacks on the coffee table, and uneaten potato chips were scattered on the carpet I chose. Even in the master bedroom, the clothes in my closet were thrown into other rooms by him, and now they are full of his clothes right next to Liu Ruyan's. If you don't know, you might think this is their wedding room. I suddenly remembered why Liu Ruyan sent him home that day. I remembered the ambiguous look he gave me when he got out of the car. So that's how it is. Does Liu Ruyan know what a wedding house is? She hasn't even lived in it, but let someone else move in first. My heart was beating so fast. I actually wanted to have a fight, not because I still cared about him but just because I felt it was disgusting. But after thinking about it, I felt it was unnecessary. His favoritism towards Chao Shukuin has been going on for a long time, so why should I ask for trouble? I bought the wedding house with my parents' inheritance, and my name is on it. Now that I'm leaving, there's no need to keep this house. I called the real estate agency and entrusted them to help me sell it, as soon as possible at a price 20% lower than the market price. Selling houses through short videos is popular now, because it's a wedding house that needs good maintenance, and it's also a school district house with decoration. They came very quickly. After shooting the video, they immediately went to promote it. Before leaving, they added my green bubble and told me about the location and price. They guaranteed that it would be sold in 1 day. It sold out. He asked me to prepare the documents and be ready to sign the contract at any time. Do you still want the things inside? The agent asked me before leaving. I took a look at the house I had carefully decorated. It had completely changed, so I said, please help me clean it up. I'll pay for it. I was processing the final data in the living room when the doorbell rang. Liu Ruyan's assistant told me that he had drunk too much at a social event. I thought it was a bit funny. In order to make the lie more realistic, he even asked his assistant to act. Maybe it was to act better. Liu Ruyan was indeed drunk. I asked my assistant to put Liu Ruyan on the sofa, and didn't even give him a blanket. I turned around and went back to the bedroom. When I got up the next day, Liu Ruyan had just come out of the bathroom after taking a shower. When he saw me, there was something in his tone that he couldn't tell. He complained to Hee-chong, "You let me sleep on the sofa all night yesterday. I blinked, otherwise I would catch a cold." I suddenly thought of Liu Ruyan. I had created when I was graduating. He worked desperately and often spent the night in a cramped office. I was worried that he was tired, so I would prepare blankets and heating pads for him in advance, and the thermos was always filled with hot water. But he seemed to have forgotten that I was also very tired at the time and was also working hard for my studies. It was because I loved him that I would try my best to consider him, but now I just want to leave early and don't care much about his affairs, so I slowly said okay. He was stunned and began to examine me again. "Are you still angry about Chao Shukuin?" I smiled. "And you said you two are impossible. Do I need to be angry?" Liu Ruyan looked at me in disbelief, and when I was about to go to the kitchen, she pulled me back. "Then why don't you care about me?" He used to say that he didn't like me checking on him. When I couldn't find him and called his assistant's phone, he said I was annoying. Now I don't care about him, and he is still unhappy, but I don't want to argue with him. I don't have the energy. I just said lightly that you must be too tired from work recently. He looked at me quietly for a few seconds, then went back to the bedroom to get dressed. I was making breakfast and had just beaten the eggs when he suddenly ran out. Why are there so many fewer clothes in the closet? Where is the blind box display cabinet? Why are they all gone? Isn't that your favorite? After selling the gifts last time, I started to pack up the rest of my things. I was actually reluctant to part with the blind boxes. After all, I had saved them for so long, but I really couldn't take them away, so I sold them all. Liu Ruyan never cared about these things before, but I don't know why she started to pay attention to them again, so I casually replied that I didn't want them anymore. She looked at me in surprise. Time passed by every second, and I will buy them for you again in the future. Even if you want the stars in the sky, I will pick them for you. I lowered my eyes and said nothing. When his eyes moved to the countdown calendar, he asked me puzzledly, "Countdown for 2 days, what are you going to do in 2 days?" I glanced at the big red font. He doesn't know that I will be leaving after tomorrow. I wonder if I should tell him in advance, but then I remembered the diamond ring box that slipped out of his pocket yesterday, and the link of this brand of ring that Chao Shuquan forwarded in the circle of friends. Finally, I didn't say anything. What I am wearing on my hand now is the plain ring that he bought for me when he just graduated. The price is not expensive, but it is the love of a young girl. I have worn it for a long time like a treasure and have been reluctant to take it off. But now I took it off gently and put it on Liu Ruyan's hand. Her face suddenly darkened. "Chang, what do you mean? This ring has been worn for too long and is a little worn out." My expression is still calm. He suddenly realized that he didn't know what was wrong, and his face became gentle again. "It was indeed worn for too long. I will find someone to polish it again and give you a new surprise." "What surprise?" Liu Ruyan smiled and said, "You'll know in 2 days, Chang. Believe me, I love you very much." I lowered my eyes and said nothing. 2 days later was the day I was leaving. I thought I couldn't wait any longer. Ruyan then said that we should visit our alma mater tomorrow. I nodded. Liu Ruyan and I have been in love for 8 years. We were in the same undergraduate school. Later, I went to a better university for postgraduate study and he chose to work. Later, I studied for a doctorate and he started a successful business. Then he said, "Let's get married. There will be no friends to witness it and no proposal ceremony." I agreed because I felt that our feelings were indestructible and no one could separate us. Now I think about it, I was still too young. Sincerity is always changing rapidly. I went to school in the afternoon to participate in the company's donation to the school's medical fund. Unexpectedly, Liu Ruyan came too. He looked at me in the background with flying eyebrows. When I saw the paper that day, I quickly contacted my partners. Ma joined in right away. "If I'm any later, it won't be my turn to be reported by the media." "Chang, do you know that big shot called Chang He? Can you help me find out about him? I want to get an interview or endorse my company." I looked at him quietly. For a moment, I even wanted to tell him that I was the cow in his mouth. And I'm not some useless person who just muddles through life. But I heard him say, "Hey, how could you know a genius? You only play with geniuses. You are not qualified to be familiar with them." I swallowed back the words I wanted to say. I didn't want to tell the truth anymore. He seemed to have expected me to say that he didn't know him. He curled his lips. "I heard from the grapevine that there is a list of people who will go to the country's confidential units to do research. I guess Chang He must be on it." "Yes," I answered casually. Liu Ruyan came closer to look at me. "You know this list?" At this time, my junior brother came to call me senior brother. "The tutor asked you to go. Group photo, so many people want to take a photo with you, otherwise there will be no chance." I agreed, and when I stood up, Liu Ruyan grabbed me. "What do you mean by no chance?" I pursed my lips and broke free from his hand. "It's nothing. Someone is leaving." "Who is leaving?" "No one is leaving." Halfway through, I turned around and saw that he was still standing there, with a confused look on his face. "Liu Ruyan, I'm leaving. You don't need to know. 1 day left in the countdown." Liu Ruyan broke the appointment again in the middle of the night. He received a crying call from Chao Shuquan, saying that he forgot to bring the key, and his parents went to his grandmother's house again today. He didn't know what to do now. Liu Ruyan deliberately came over to see if I was asleep, and I pretended to sleep soundly. She carried me on her back on the balcony. The sound was particularly clear in the silent night. "Why did you run back home? Are you not satisfied with your brother-in-law's house?" Chao Shuquan cried, and I didn't go after returning from the trip. I was afraid my brother-in-law will be unhappy if he finds out that day, and he plans to move back in a few days. "You can live here if I ask you to. It's just one house." "Sister Ruyan, I'm so scared. The old neighborhood is so dark, and I feel like someone is following me." "Don't worry, don't hang up the phone. I'll be there soon." When I woke up, Liu Ruyan still hadn't come back. I didn't want to ask her about it, nor did I want to call to ask her if she was going, because my tutor asked me to go to school with my ID and there were some things to deal with. I was on the way when I received Liu Ruyan's call. "I'm sorry, Chang. Can we go back to campus next time?" I agreed obediently. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a moment, and then he suddenly asked, "Aren't you angry?" "No, don't you ask me where I went and who I was with. You are an adult, not a child who needs someone to take care of you." Liu Ruyan paused. Her voice was hoarse. "Chang, I always felt that you were so far away from me during this time, and I felt like I couldn't catch you. I found it very strange. He used to say that I shouldn't be jealous, angry, or noisy. Now I am in a calm mood and have a good attitude, but he still thinks I am not good. But it doesn't matter. He will soon know that people will only have no more emotions about things they don't care about." "Chang, don't you love me anymore?" His last question was so light that it disappeared into the air as soon as the bus whistle sounded. Finally, he sighed slightly. "Chang, I won't come back tonight, but I will pick you up at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Believe me, I will definitely give you an unforgettable day." Tomorrow I can't wait, but I think he will break the appointment again, so I answered gently. Okay, the instructor said that we will leave at 1 a.m. tonight, and someone will come to pick me up. Have you settled all your problems? I heard from your junior brother that you wanted to get married before. I raised my right hand without a ring and said with a smile that I was single. The instructor nodded. Nodding, Likachong has been closed for 10 years. If anyone wants to say goodbye as soon as possible. We will never see each other again. I nodded. At noon, all the teachers in the school were helping me to hold a farewell party. My junior brother even cried with red eyes. Senior, I really envy you. I also want to follow in your footsteps. I patted his head. You work hard, I'll wait for you inside. Okay, wait for me, I'll come to you. In the afternoon, the agent notified me to sign the contract. I was surprised at how fast it was, but he said that now is the internet age, so of course it is efficient. The buyer is a teacher from the middle school next door. He just wants to be close to work and rush over from school to pay the full amount. I hurriedly signed the contract and then signed the power of attorney. Everything that followed was handled by the agent on my behalf. In the evening, I returned to my alma mater and walked the path that Liu Ruyan and I had walked together again. In fact, we also had very sweet times. On the playground, the 20-year-old the first time Liu Ruyan held my hand, her face turned red. In the grove, we kissed for the first time, and we were so flustered that our breathing was disordered. In the library, we studied our lessons and smiled at each other. Under the dormitory, we hugged each other tightly, reluctant to leave. When I was 22, Liu Ruyan put the ring on my hand. Hongzhou also said that he would marry me in the future and let me live a good life. When I was 25, he started a successful business and hugged me tightly in his arms. We counted together how many zeros there were on the card and how many children we would have in the future. When I was 27, he said, Hee-chong, let's get married so we don't have the so-called 7-year itch. I will always love you. The person who was full of me in his heart and eyes, at the age of 28, because another man kept abandoning me, I was no longer his first choice. I remembered how the song was hot first, but then it became cold and it was slow to heat up but couldn't stop and it was still boiling. He came close to me and wiped away my tears. I thought I had already let it go. I didn't expect that when I recalled the years we had walked hand in hand, I would still feel sad. But it doesn't matter, I comforted myself, it's human nature, time is a good medicine, it will always blur and forget everything. I packed my luggage when I got home, and finally asked the cleaning staff to clean up all my traces, and then quietly waited for the moment of departure. When the pointer pointed to 12 o'clock, I tore off the last page and wrote a sentence in the blank space. Liu Ruyan, I will not get married, I wish you happiness with Chao Shukuan. I suddenly remembered what my mentor said, after all I had loved you. I was still ready to say goodbye to Liu Ruyan. The phone rang for a long time before it was connected, but it was Chao Shukuan's voice. Are you okay so late? With fingers curled up, I asked him where is Liu Ruyan, Sister Ruyan. He laughed. He was too tired just now, he was taking a shower. I thought I would feel heartache, but when I pressed my heart, it seemed that there was no beating. The ups and downs of the room, Chao Shukuan's voice continued to reach my ears. If you have nothing else to do, I'm going to hang up. We still have the second half later. The phone on the plane sent a photo of Liu Ruyan and him sleeping together last night. I hung up the phone and looked at the empty house. Teacher, you see, I also wanted to say goodbye, but this is the result. Then I thought, not everyone is suitable to say goodbye, so let's never see each other again. I deleted the fingerprint on the password lock, carried the suitcase and drove away in the night. At 8 o'clock the next morning, Liu Ruyan called Hee-chong. They were busy all night yesterday and finally arranged the proposal ceremony on the lawn halfway up the mountain. He thought the proposal a year ago was too hasty. Although Hee-chong didn't care about these ceremonies, he still wanted to give her the best surprise. What others have, he also has. More importantly, he always felt that Hee-chong was a little weird during this period, and there was something in his heart. He felt a sense of panic, as if he would turn into a kite, flying farther and farther away, and he had the illusion that he could not catch it. He wanted to take the opportunity to explain clearly about the dress, and tell him that he had customized a new style. He also wanted to face the mountain breeze and the sunshine and apologize to Hee-chong. The two of them could talk everything out and then prepare for the wedding. She was his most beautiful groom, but no one answered the phone. He wondered if she hadn't woken up yet. After all, he often worked in the laboratory until very late, but he was always self-disciplined and would not sleep so late. A trace of nervousness emerged in his heart. Liu Ruyan comforted herself that she might be making breakfast and didn't hear it. After waiting for a while, he dialed the number again. Still no one answered the phone. He finally panicked and asked the driver to drive faster. Someone in the group asked him if he wanted to scatter flower petals on the way up the mountain. He looked at the sun rising outside as usual. He wanted Hee-chong it should be basking in the sunlight now on such an ordinary day. He just didn't hear it. He didn't mean to ignore the call, right? If he knew that I had prepared these surprises for him today, he would be moved to tears. He was always soft-hearted towards her, so he replied with a good word in the group. On the road where flowers are blooming, they will definitely rush to a brighter future. Liu Ruyan stood at the door of her house and took a deep breath before going in. Hee-chong's slippers were gone. Her heart skipped a beat, and then she comforted herself that Hee-chong must have been waiting for her in the room wearing slippers. After all, when he said he would pick her up at 9 o'clock yesterday, he agreed. So he called out, but no one responded to him. The morning sun had already shone in, but the house seemed even emptier. He suddenly discovered that the photo wall in the living room was empty. This house seemed to have suddenly lost all the breath of Hee-chong's existence. Maybe he put it away. He would tidy up the house every once in a while, or maybe he put it somewhere else, but he still walked quickly to the bedroom. There were only his clothes in the closet, and only his documents and information were left in the drawer. Even the quilt was newly changed, and there was only the fragrance of laundry detergent, but not his scent. The same was true in the study. There was only a yellow diary left on the table. He opened the diary, and his heart sank with every page he read. The diary recorded the details of their meeting, knowing each other, and falling in love. But now every word was like a sharp sword, piercing his heart, making him almost breathless with pain. Memories flashed in his mind. They had a beautiful youth and enviable love. They were both orphans supporting each other, redeeming each other, and walking together for 8 years. They almost got married. On the last page of the diary, Liu Ruyan was written in a brand new note. "We have come here," signed it was today's date. His sight fell behind him. The dress that was hung up was cut at 100 by the scissors from the chest. Liu Ruyan's nose began to feel sour and there seemed to be heat in his eyes. He pinched his palm hard, forcing himself to calm down, but he didn't realize that his hand was still shaking when he dialed the phone. A Chong answered the phone. "Please answer it quickly." The voice coming out of the phone was full of sobs, but it seemed that there would never be a familiar voice on the other end of the phone again. He tried to find traces of his existence in this house full of their memories, but noticed that the calendar that had a countdown of 2 days written on it was now placed in a corner of the dining table. The blank page said that he would not marry her. It was like he had suddenly fallen into an ice cellar. The coolness slowly moved up from the soles of his feet, like a big net, blocking all his words in his throat. He was almost suffocating. Suddenly the phone rang, as if he had found a life-saving straw. He took it out in a panic. It was from Hee-chong. It must be Hee-chong, but it was disappointing. The name that was jumping on the pulse was Sukuan. "Ruyan's brother-in-law, did you answer the call? We are all waiting in the mountains. He can't still be angry with me. He is not going to come." For some reason, when he thought of the words left by Hee-chong, wishing him and Chao Sukuan happiness, he felt that he was about to lose control. He still cared, he had always cared. He just pretended not to care because he was planning to leave step by step. He was too disappointed in him, so in the end he didn't even want to quarrel with him anymore. He looked at him coldly, how to hurt him, how to give up on him every time he had to choose between the two. He was a bastard, he should have realized that something was wrong with him, but what was he doing at that time? He gave Chao Sukuan the dress he was looking forward to without hesitation. He promised that he would go on a trip, but he broke his promise and went out with Chao's parents. He said he would accompany her to her alma mater, but he chose to break the appointment because of Chao Sukuan's call. One by one, they were like detailed and close relationships. 出来的陷阱你没有告诉了勇者曾志勇就不说刘若言的言果紧着他壁跨文化却练的念造何强刘若言的言果紧着他壁跨文化却练的念造何强曾志勇把我对方和学儿把我替你让世界杯 English. It was like a net, entangled him so that his heart ached. Liu Ruyan rushed out and found Hee-chong's junior brother. He rushed over. Where was Hee-chong? The junior brother looked at him with disgust. Don't you know that he left? Where did he go? The junior brother stopped talking. Liu Ruyan's eyes turned red and she tightly grasped his wrist, as if tears would flow out the next moment. I beg you to tell me where he went. Did he go to another school for an exchange? But he knew in his heart that if he really went for an exchange, he would not erase all his traces. The junior brother looked at his embarrassed look and sneered. It was so funny. Why didn't you care about me when you were flirting with your green tea brother? The senior brother was stunned. The junior brother continued to say that if you did anything to be worthy of him in this year, you would not make this decision. He refused the tutor and did not go a year ago because he wanted to marry you. But today, a year later, because of your countless hurts, he chose not to see us for 10 years. The junior brother's tone was a little choked. 买的最新最新最新最新最新最深之乌阶子最深深最深深最深深深最深深深深最深深深深深最深深深深深深之句最深深深深深行凉我只想拉着你的男最新最深深深最深深深深之句最深深深深深之句最深深深深深深之句最深深深深深行凉我只想拉着你的男最深深最深深深深深之句最深深深深深深之句最深深深深深行凉 Because this place is closer to the company, he feels that he is really wrong, extremely wrong. How can he let someone else live in the wedding room he carefully decorated? He doesn't even dare to think about it anymore. What would Hee-chong think when he saw this house full of other people's things? He doesn't even dare to think about it anymore, but he didn't say anything to him, not even a phone call or text message to question him. He must be extremely disappointed in him, so he is so calm. He thinks about the events of the past few days over and over again in his mind, and the clues are connected bit by bit. Isn't Changha just the name of Hee-chong reversed? He is the one who wanted to keep the project secret. It was the auntie, but he stabbed her with cold words, saying that she was good for nothing and just a waste. Her fiancé is so outstanding, but she only knows now that nothing happened between her and Chao Shukuan. She just regarded him as her younger brother, repaying the kindness of Chao's mother and father for taking her in when she was young. How did things turn out like this? She regrets it so much. It started from that incident. It was a year ago when she shouldn't have picked up Chao Shukuan at the airport without telling Hee-chong and sent him home when he was drunk. Hee-chong found his leather shoes still in the car. Half a year ago, Chao Shukuan entered the password in the middle of the night and appeared at his house soaking wet, interrupting their intimacy. Hee-chong asked him why he had the password, and he scolded him indiscriminately for being narrow-minded. He should have forgotten the days when he was supposed to accompany him. Thinking that they still had a long time in the future, he broke the appointment recklessly. There were too many things. Liu Ruyan thought about it over and over again, and then sat in their original wedding room with tears streaming down her face. He deserved to die. The carefully arranged proposal ceremony was now missing the protagonist who was supposed to appear. Everyone looked at each other in disbelief that He Chong would quietly participate in that closed medical research project and be gone for 10 years. It seemed to tell everyone that there was no one here who made him worth staying. Liu Ruyan took out the custom-made diamond ring, but could never find it again. Zoixin, a video recording. He and his girlfriend habitually kept the video on until dawn, and he also liked to record the screen, so he recorded the sound of Chao Shuquan and He Chong chatting. Are you busy so late, Sister Ruyan? He was too tired just now. He's taking a shower. You don't have anything else? I'm going to hang up. We still have the second half later. The whole audience was silent. Everyone present knew what these ambiguous words meant, and were also guessing how many times in this year he had blurred the boundaries between sister and brother and made He Chong misunderstand their relationship. Sister Ruyan, let me explain. Chao Shuquan was so anxious that he was about to cry. Liu Ruyan pushed him away fiercely, and said expressionlessly, Chao Shuquan, I have repaid the favor of your family. Go away. Chao Shuquan was going crazy and shouted, Sister Ruyan, I admit that I am despicable, but I only did this because I really like you. We also have a friendship that grew up together, and you are so good to me. Since you are going to get married, why can't that person be me? I'm younger and better than her. Beautiful, I have more time to accompany you. He Chong is gone. I love you on his behalf, okay? Chao Shuquan cried so hard that her makeup was ruined. Liu Ruyan looked at him coldly. No, I will only recognize He Chong in this life. Get out of here. 3 months later, the dress that Liu Ruyan had customized for him was delivered to his home. He pushed out a big bottle of wine and barely stood up to open the door. When he opened the huge gift box, he thought of the day in the dress shop when his suit was put on by Chao Shuquan, and he even played wedding games with him. He saw He Chong making a phone call outside the window. If he had been more careful, he would definitely notice the light in his eyes slowly dimming. If he had chosen to wait for him in the dress shop that day and put on the dress for him personally, and then the two of them took photos together and posted them on WeChat Moments and accepted other people's compliments, would the result be different? But how could there be a regret medicine in this world? Li Keqiang would never come back, and he would never forgive him. Liu Ruyan holding the new dress tightly, I cried inconsolably in the house without He Chong. The research institute where I work is in a mountain. Before pulling out the phone card, I saw Liu Ruyan and his friends calling one after another. Among them, someone sent a photo of the proposal scene, with a bouquet of flowers with the initials of my name and Liu Ruyan. The surprise he mentioned was a proposal, but I didn't need it anymore. I didn't reply to anyone and permanently sealed this useless phone. The days in the research institute passed quickly, and 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. The various drugs we secretly developed were also put into the market. In the 11th year, a group of researchers and I were invited to attend an academic exchange meeting abroad, escorted by guards throughout the whole process. After the meeting, we were interviewed by reporters. When I was leaving, my junior brother touched my shoulder, and someone at my senior brother's place had been watching. I got closer and saw Liu Ruyan. She was no longer the young and high-spirited girl, nor was she a teenager. He is elegant and graceful, but now he is middle-aged and has aged a lot, almost unrecognizable. We looked at each other from afar, and the past emerged in an instant, but it felt like it happened in the previous life. When he ran over quickly, he was stopped by the guard beside him. He Chong is me, Liu Ruyan. He was so anxious that he almost cried. Chong, please give me a few minutes. After all the body searches were completed, we sat opposite each other in the conference room. When we met again, there was really no ripple in my heart. In fact, my junior brother told me about him when he entered the institute. He said that after I left, he became addicted to alcohol and his body became weaker and weaker. The company almost went bankrupt several times, but when he thought of me, he worked hard again, fearing that he would have no channels and funds to inquire about me in the future. He bought my house back at a high price after the restricted sale period was over. I don't know what he will do. Without his help, Chao Shuquan's family would not have a good life. Later, he worked as a gigolo for a married woman for money and was raped by his original wife. I was found beaten in the street and was hit by a car when I ran away. I may have to live in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. After knowing this, my mood did not change. After all, compared with national affairs, these love affairs are not worth mentioning. Seeing my indifferent look, his voice choked. Chong, I'm sorry. I pulled my lips. It's too late. I don't need this apology anymore. Are you still blaming me? For me now, Liu Ruyan is just an insignificant passerby in my life, and is not worthy of any extra emotions, not to mention that all the love and hate have been passed down for more than 10 years, and have long been smoothed out by time, and I have long let it go, but now it seems that Liu Ruyan can't forget her at all, and I shed tears of regret and pain. I regret it, I really regret it. If that year I hadn't been involved with Chao Shuquan, we would have been married and would have children, right? Chong, I was wrong, I hurt you, and when he cries now, he no longer has the handsomeness of the past Chao but looked haggard. We have been in love for 8 years. My quality and cultivation prevent me from saying bad things to him, not to mention that I really don't care. So I said lightly, look forward. Liu Ruyan's voice trembled, but I'm still waiting for you. I will never marry again except you in this life. I looked at her in surprise. Her expression was moved and she looked at me ingratiatingly, as if she wanted me to be moved to tears by her self-proclaimed deep affection for him. Chong, can you? I spoke softly and forgot to tell you that I got married 3 years ago. The hope in Liu Ruyan's eyes was instantly extinguished. My partner was selected by the country through layers of selection. I heard that after hearing about my glorious deeds at school, he secretly vowed to come to me. So we have been together for many years and finally achieved success. He is also a researcher. At this moment he pushed open the door and walked in. holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. The moment Liu Ruyan saw him, her eyes trembled suddenly. My wife is 10 years younger than me, in the prime of life. I smiled gently. I understand you, everyone likes young people. The little wife walked up to me, gave me the flowers, and then looked at Liu Ruyan with contempt. So old Liu Ruyan's expression shattered inch by inch, and she couldn't say a word for a long time. She just felt her heart was hollowed out, and tears flowed out in an instant. He thought that after more than 10 years of waiting, there must be a chance for He-chong to forgive him again. After all, they had the best 8 years together. But he didn't expect that he had already sailed through thousands of mountains and rivers, not only had a new life but also a new partner. That person was younger and better than him, and looked at him with love in his eyes. At that moment he seemed to see his former self from his eyes, and the one who is with him now should be his. He regretted it to the extreme, and even dared not take out the plain ring in his bag that he had worn for a long time. But Liu Ruyan still took it out. The ring, his and He-chong's, made into a necklace together. I wish you happiness, he said. He-chong's cold eyes fell on his face. He hurriedly and humbly explained that I didn't mean anything else. I just hope you live well. I am living well. At the urging of his wife, He-chong took it casually, and Liu Ruyan's heart, which was raised to her throat, finally fell. At least he was willing to stay, which meant that he could not forget that they once loved each other. I took the necklace and vaguely remembered the past. That year we had no money, but we held hands in the moonlight, smiled sweetly, and then hugged and kissed, as if that moment was eternal. But the mood at that time could never be made up, and I didn't need any belated apologies. When I walked to the door of the conference room, I put the necklace on the trash can, turned around and saw Liu Ruyan's grief-stricken expression. She stood there alone, as if a gust of wind could blow her away. I turned around and seemed to see her, 20 years old, running towards me against the wind. The girl was full of vigor and vitality. She carefully held my hand and said, He-chong, I like you so much. The end.